Hey there guys, my name is Chris and this is my Volvo Overland build. I'm currently on my rooftop because every inch of real estate available is useful on a road trip. As you guys can see, I'm out here in the beautiful Wicklow Mountains south of Dublin and the beautiful Emerald Island of Ireland. How did I make it here? Not without a bunch of problems. So I'm going to share that with you guys now. The road trip started in Switzerland on the border of France. Within the first 10 minutes of being on the road, I got pulled over by the cops. As you guys can imagine, this draws attention to itself. And that is one of the reasons why I got stopped by the police in France. Basically, I was just filling up petrol because 2.5 petrol turbo does drink a lot. While I was putting fuel on it, there was a flamingo on my passenger seat. Olivia, my trusted travel companion, the big off-road tires, wheels, the cutouts in the bonnet, and just the overall look. I had my bike and the kayak where I'm sitting at the moment, so you can imagine it draws attention to itself. And the police were very curious to know if all the mods that I had done to my vehicle were in the legality. Guess what? They were, technically. In France, you have what is the contrôle technique, the NCT out here in Ireland, MOT equivalent in the UK, and so on for different countries. It states that I have from test A to test B to get my car back to original spec, or something that they consider roadworthy. There was actually 2 pages of controls, modifications that I have done to the vehicle that do not correspond to what they consider roadworthy. But from test A to test B, there's a couple of months. So technically, they couldn't say anything other than enjoy your trip, get your car fixed. Thank you very much, French police. I will be doing soon. Wink, wink. So, first stop was in Champagne region, out in Reims. I camped out overlooking the vineyards, woke up to beautiful just vineyards for miles and miles and miles on end with beautiful grapes that make champagne, so much delicious champagne. So I had a couple of bottles bought that are stored currently in the car. And I also had a lot of tasting with a lot of local people that are just so warm and amazing. Nevertheless, my next stop was Paris. I wanted to go catch an Olympic match of either basketball, kayaking, or any last minute thing that I could get. Driving from Champagne towards Paris, I was driving very spiritedly, rally driver wannabe. And it just so happened that there is a lot of carbon buildup, or there was a lot of carbon buildup in that engine. And I blew out the main seal. The main seal is towards the bottom of the engine. As soon as you lose that, a huge amount of oil is lost in a very short amount of time. So you can imagine there is oil all around the accessory belt, timing belt, water pump, all of that general area, wheel wells, they splash onto the brakes, out the back end with the backdraft, up into the tailgate, and it just makes a whole lot of mess. So on the highway, doing about 120, just goes whoosh. If there is any Frenchmen that might have their car soiled by my beautiful Volvo, I offer an apology and nothing more. I do not want to be responsible for cleaning your car. And by now, it's probably too late to even propose that. But I am thinking of you. So apologies, beautiful Frenchmen on the road that day. So this happens outside of Paris on a Sunday night during the Olympic Games. You can imagine that no one wanted to touch my car for repairs, let alone just getting a hold of a tow truck company was near impossible. And I was thinking, if I put the car in a parking lot in an underground car park or anywhere else, Paris is already expensive enough without the Olympic Games. Add the games to that weekend, and it was almost, not feasible to go ahead and do that. So what did I do? Obviously, the smart decision was to get my car on a ferry and have it towed to the nearest port. The nearest port is out by the west coast in Cherbourg. So Cherbourg had a couple of options. I was either going to Spain, Portugal, Scotland, the UK towards the south end, or the beautiful island of Ireland. And I said to myself, whichever ferry goes out next, that's the one I'm taking. True to my word, as soon as I got there, Dublin ferry was going out, 19 hours on that ferry. And I said, yes, that sounds lovely. I put enough oil on the car just to get it off the tow truck, onto the ferry. Mind you, as soon as you put it in the engine, it leaks out the other side. As soon as you start it, pressure is built and it just spews out. So not a nice scene. The car was sitting in the lower deck of that ferry for the next 19 hours. So safe to say, it had time to empty itself. Or it would have if it had anything in it, because if a ferry company found a big oil stain, it wasn't mine. Mine was dry. Wink, wink. After those 19 hours, I rushed down, be the first person out in the deck, put enough oil in it just to drive it off, go through customs and passport control. And after that, I just wanted to get out of there as quickly as possible. There was a bunch of people on camping cars to my left and to my right, just shouting at me, klaxoning, and saying, hey, 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 you have a huge oil leak. You're losing oil by the minute. And I said, yes, shut up, be quiet. I know, don't tell the passport control people that, because they won't allow me into this country. I was basically cross-country contaminating at that moment. It is a hazardous waste to get disposed of and so on. Somebody told me later on that if I would have soiled the ferry with my oil, I might have been fined up to 5,000 euros. So glad to say I didn't. Yes, I didn't. So I found a local garage called Sweeney's. Huge shout out to Sweeney's. I was not given a break nor sponsored by them. I just consider that the service they provided really deserves a shout out. I got full price. It was about $1,400 to do the timing belt and the seals, because everything had to be redone. Water pump, timing belt, accessory belts, so on, so on. And just the overall clean, because wheel wells, like I said, everything was just covered in oil, not a pretty sight. Once I actually got the car running, my destination was the south and the west of Ireland. However, that is for episode 2, where I actually want to share with you guys how beautiful this island is and how warm the people are. Before I leave you on with that, within the first 3 hours of landing in Ireland, Dublin, I had the car parked. I went out on my bike just to explore the city. I saw a couple of guys just having a pint of Guinness in a local pub downtown, and I offered them to pay a round in exchange for local information about Ireland and Dublin itself. Just to show you how warm the Irish really are. After about an hour after I told them my story, after I got to know them and basically just bonded, one of the lads said, hey, if you want to continue your road trip, I can offer you my BMW E39 wagon so you can continue on your road trip. I'm on vacation anyways. Here are the keys. Use it at will, without even knowing me. And the second person said, hey, if you haven't got a place to stay yet or anything, I can offer you my place to crash. So yes, the Irish are a lovely bunch. If you haven't been out to Ireland, I highly recommend it. Just the people alone are worth it. It doesn't matter if it's pouring rain or cold or just gray. The people make it worthwhile. I'm going to share that with you guys while I upload the second video telling you guys about the South, the West, the Atlantic Wild Way, and just the lovely scenery that's out there, because this island deserves more attention. So thank you very much. Keep posted for the second update very soon.